Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Monster Families. Today, we're going to be going over the monster family known as the vampires, the liches, there's a bunch of different names for these guys. You can find them primarily in Arcane Sanctuary, but they also exist in like catacombs and a bunch of other places. And honestly, they're kind of a pain in the butt monster type, and I think we have a lot to talk about with this particular monster type because they're a pain in the butt, and that's pretty much all you need to know. But we're gonna go deep into the specifics of why they're a pain in the butt and talk about it. And what is this monster type? Well, this monster type is known as the vampire. The vampire. No, I killed him. I didn't mean to kill the vampire. I meant to keep the vampire alive. There's always so many of them here, and like this time I just like come across like none. So these are the vampires. They also go by ghoul lords and all sorts of other things. And they have some interesting AI. They're probably one of the most complex monsters in Diablo 2 for whatever reason. And not only that, but you can also turn into one yourself if you get the full Trang-Oul set, and you can basically get all of their abilities for your own. Let's talk about the Ghoul Lords and why they're so weird. So first off, the vampires, which also go by the name of the Banished, the Ghoul Lords, the Night Lords, the Dark Lords, the Blood Lords. Yep, that's right. Voldemort is in the game, the Dark Lords. And why they're so annoying. So first off is the fact that they can lifesteal. Not only can they lifesteal, but they could also lifesteal on spells, which is also really strange. I'm not exactly sure why they're capable of lifestealing off of spells, but to give you an example, I'm going to go ahead and wound one and see if I can get them to actually cast spells on me. Maybe. Why is your AI so weird? What exactly are you doing? Like, where are you going? Oh, there you go. Now they suddenly started, like, behaving normally. Alright, so I'm going to wound one of these guys. And as you can see, as they attack me, they literally gain health back as they attack me. They also have one of the best regenerations in the game, 2 times that of normal monsters. So while they have the ability to lifesteal, they also have incredibly high regeneration values, which is actually talked about here. They also heal 50% faster than normal monsters, which is crazy. They also have cold damage added to their melee attack if they do happen to hit you, and you'll find out real fast because their melee attack actually hits really hard. They don't use it very often, but it kind of smacks. They also have the ability to cast Fireball, Firewall, and Meteor, which are all kind of crazy to have as a source. So when you summon them and you actually have your own minions, like for instance if I go ahead and grab some of mine, you'll notice that they'll start casting Firewalls and Fireballs and Meteors on their own, which does make them a very powerful elementally aligned minion that you can potentially summon. Which is quite interesting because it basically gives you the ability to have a bunch of fire attacks. So if you were to set up, say, like a pyromancer, like my particular pyromancer I set up in a previous season, these could be very interesting additions because they, of course, are elementally aligned with fire. Use Fire Sunder and lower resistance and maybe Conviction Aura and tie it all together, and you have a pretty powerful a monster which is dishing out large amounts of fire damage. Now the problem with these guys is that they just generally tend to be unkillable. Not only do they have immunity to cold resistance almost always, but they have very high cold resistance in lower difficulties. They also have pretty high fire resistance at 33%. They also have lightning resistance at 25%, poison resistance at 50%, no magic resistance, but they also have 50%, in between 30 to 50% physical resistance as well. Even in lower difficulties, they have physical resistance. And combined with the fact that they have really good resistances, they can life leech, they have really good regeneration, and they also have block chance of anywhere between 13 to 25%. They tend to be one of the most annoying monsters in the game just simply because they don't die. Now, how can you deal with these guys? How can you make your life easier with these guys? The first thing that you have to do is you have to stop their regeneration. Their regeneration is extremely powerful. Now, obviously, they also have the ability to leech life as well as regenerate it, but the first thing you can do is apply open wounds or poison to them to stop their regeneration. And when you do this, or prevent monster heal, that also works. When you do this, you will find that they were much easier to kill. On top of this, since they leech life, freezing them is also a really strong method of dealing with their life leech, because obviously freezing them or stunning them stops them from hitting you, and if they are no longer hitting you, then they can no longer life leech, right? Problem with this is that in hell difficulty they're always cold immune, which means you're going to need a sunder, and you're going to need negative cold resist, and once you can freeze them, you will find that they are much, much, much easier to kill, in general. However, as you can see, in this particular case, with magic damage, they're very easy to kill because magic damage tends to do a large amount to them. They appear all over the game. They are not just simply in Arcane Sanctuary. They are in Catacombs. Ooh, sorry. They are in Catacombs. They are in at Guest Monsters at Act 5. They are in the Tombs in Act 2. They are basically just like all over the place, and they are nasty wherever they exist. They spam fire spells the entire time they're attacking you. They heal themselves constantly, and a lot of the times you'll find that people will just run by them because they're honestly more hassle than they're worth, especially when they are elite monsters with multiple resistances, multiple immunities. They tend to have some of the highest resistances in the game, as you can clearly see based on the stats here, because they have like basically 30 to 50% physical res. They have 33% fire res in hell difficulty. They're pretty much always immune to cold. They've got pretty decent amount of lightning res, pretty decent amount of poisoning res. They tend to be very resistant to any type of damage, and when they are being hit with damage, they're healing themselves and they're life leeching, which is just kind of a utter pain in the butt. The Trang-Oul's set, which is actually kind of funny, is actually designed to turn you into that very character. So if you ever put on the full Trang-Oul's set, which I don't know if I have the full set here. I've got the, yep, I do. Okay. If you ever put on the full set, you become one of these characters, one of these monsters, and you basically have the same powers as this monster. Some of the interesting things about this monster is that, well, number one, they have no run or walk mode. They only have one speed that they go, and that is it. If I am running, you can see here I'll toggle run, and I am still going the same speed. And I toggle it again, and I am still going the same speed. They basically just float, which is kind of funny. It actually allows you to maintain your block chance while also still moving at the same speed. Because if I toggle run on, you see my defense and my block chance are going away. If I toggle it off, look, I'm still moving the same speed, but now I'm also maintaining my defense and my block chance. So interesting. Now, when it comes to this mode, you are subject to the rules of this mode, in which case you are now have a much lower cast speed, and they also give you all the spells to go along with it too, because they want you to have the full power of the lichdom. So when you put on the full Trang-Oul set, you have all the same spells that the lich has. You have the fireball ability, you have the meteor ability, and you also have the lich's the vampire's firewall. So it essentially all this does, the Trang-Oul set does, is it literally turns you into one of those creatures. The only thing it really doesn't do is give you the ridiculous amount of life leech. Like in the ability to freaking, what it seems like to me is pull the actual like leeching from the spell itself, which is something that I don't think any other monster in the game can do. That of course is not something that they give you. They don't give you the power to leech life through spells, which would be insane. But the lich seem to have that power, because when they hit you with a fireball, you will clearly see their HP go up as a result to hitting you with the fireball, even if you have prevent monster heal on them, which is rather interesting. Um, I don't think if there's anything else to go over when it comes to the vampires. Lock them down, stun them, freeze them, poison damage, open wounds, prevent monster heal. All this is very important for them. Stop them from being able to regenerate. Stop them from being able to life leech. You will find that they are much easier to kill because of it. They do have relatively high resistances, though, across the board in pretty much all categories. So you will have some problems with that. And they also have up to a 25% chance to block you as well, which just makes them ridiculously tanky monsters. As far as revives go, we talked about that, is that they're elementally aligned. And one of the problems with having an elementally aligned revive is that, well, the bonus damage that you get from the revive skill, or the skeleton mastery skill rather, doesn't apply to elemental damage. It only applies to physical damage. So do keep that in mind. So if you are going to try and use them as your revives, I would highly recommend that you go with something like lower resistance, because lower resistance, of course, is going to make it so that you can actually get good damage out of them. If you're using amplified damage and you're primarily a physical damage necromancer, probably not the best minions out there. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me. Be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And as always, keep watching.